Good afternoon, dear students. Today, briefly, I will throw light on the jurisdiction of the UN. As the many countries tried to sort changes in the UN, its structure and also its processing, and also some countries they tried to divert the attention of the UN towards the current issues, as the question of membership is a serious one. In addition, though, there are more substantial issues before the world, as the UN completed its 70 years of its existence. The heads of the all member countries met in September 2005 to celebrate the annual anniversary and review the situation. The leaders in this meeting decided to take the steps in order to make the UN more relevant in the changing context. As the UN, it was highlighting the realities of the 40s when it was established, but after the World War, after the Cold War, or we may say after the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, the realities got changed. And when the realities got changed, the needs of the world that too got changed, and there was the need that the current issues, current problems of the globe, they must be resolved through the UN. And in this regard, the jurisdiction of the UN was also sought to get changed, as it was suggested in this meeting. It was not only suggested but even decided to change the UN in a particular context or in the changing context, as they decided the creation of a building or peacekeeping commission. Though this peacekeeping function was assigned to Security Council maintenance of peace, but in this meeting the General Assembly decided the creation of peacekeeping commission, which will provide the or which will submit these reports from time to time. And also it was decided in this meeting, if the national governments fail to protect their own citizens from the atrocities, its responsible will be the international community. It is responsible will be the UN. And it was decided that UN will accept the responsibility of the failure of the international community, though it is the failure of the national governments, but the responsibility will be shouldered by the UN, as the UN gives the mandate to Security Council even to hold the weapons in order to protect the rights of the citizens. And regarding the atrocities, if committed in any particular country, its responsibility will be shouldered by the UN. And thirdly, establishment of Human Rights Council. They decided to set up a Human Rights Council where the human rights will be discussed, or where it will be seen whether the human rights are violated or not. If violated, what should be done? and the level of human rights violation and the course of action to be taken when they are violated. And this human rights council will determine the level of human rights. And this human rights council, it is operational from 19th June 2006. Then agreement to achieve the millennium developmental goals. In order to have the sustainable development in developing as well as developed countries, many agreements were signed to achieve the millennium developmental goals for the whole world. And the next one, condemnation of the terrorism in all kinds and manifestation and its manifestation, कि हर तरह की टेररिज्म जो है इसको कंडेमन करना. Terrorism, it is the great threat nowadays in throughout the world, threat to our lives and our existence. Terrorism in all kinds. It is not only necessary to hold the weapons to have weapons against the people, but the terrorism also means threatening in order to get the political objectives, threatening, making the hostages, etc. And it is manifestation. इसको बढ़ावा देना, इसको चलाना, इस पर condemnation. The union, or the, we may say, the United Nations, it condemns the terrorism in all kinds. And also creation of democracy fund. Democracy fund was created in the United Nations in order to encourage the countries to establish democracy, which is based on certain rights. As in many places today in the world there is the monarch system, but most of the countries, they were encouraged to adopt the democratic system and are given the economic assistance through the United Nations. And they will be given, or they are to be given the economic assistance only when there is the creation of democracy fund. Therefore, only then it is possible to help them. In order to help them, in order to encourage them economically, and they establish democracies in their countries. And also an agreement was reached among the member countries to wind up the trusteeship council, as the members of the UN felt that there is no need of trusteeship, because after 1991 there was no any trustee land or trustee country to be given as trustee to the big five. There was no unrecognized decolonized state. Therefore, this organ of the UNO, it became useless, and they agreed to wind up this trusteeship council. And it is hard to see that these are the equal contentious issues for the UN. What should be a peacekeeping commission too? There are many number of conflicts all over the world which one should it intervene in, and even desirable for it to intervene in each and every conflict. Similarly, what is the responsibility of the international community in dealing with atrocities? So many countries are still part of the developing world. How realistic it for the UN to achieve an ambitious set of goals such as those listed in Millennium Developmental Goals. And how shall the UN use funds to promote democracy and so on? For these reasons, the jurisdiction of UN it was extended or it was changed. It is all about the jurisdiction of the UNO, and inshallah we will meet in the next video. तब तक के लिए खुदा हाफिज.